Good afternoon. Welcome to GrainTV. It's January 29th, 2014. I'm Logan Burgess. To my right here is Brock Shimbano to help break down a very weak day for the grains in Chicago. Let's jump into the quotes here and see where the grain settled. Corn was off 4.5 cents. Soybeans down 16 1/4. Chicago wheat was off 14.5 cents. Kansas City wheat down 13 1/4. Brock, soybeans led to the downside today when looking at the March contracts, and certainly a lot of weak technical action here to talk about.
Yeah, we did sell off very sharply in the soybean market. And I think it led the wheat market and the corn market lower as well. If we take a look at the technical landscape here, you can see that last bar we did sell off rather sharply. We broke through that support we were watching yesterday right around that 1280 area from that trend line. The 200-day moving average was right in that area as well, the 1280 area. We broke through there. The selling accelerated, moved to the downside, moved down to about 1260. I kind of anticipate this holding a little bit of support in tomorrow's action. We probably will see some buyers step in, take some profits off the table. And this is an area that has held support a couple of times over the last few months. If you look back in November, we tested that area, the 1260 area. We did get some support there. Earlier this month, we also tested that 1260 area. We also got some support there. So in the near term, I anticipate this holding little support, but it seems like the fundamentals are starting to weigh on this soybean market a little bit.
Yeah, in today's action in particular, I think that was true, Brock. This morning, we had some rumors in the market that the Chinese had canceled 300 to 400,000 metric tons of sales from the U.S. Gulf. So that didn't help anything out. And then today we got some great pictures of harvest underway down in Brazil. Take a look at this slide here, provided by a John Deere retailer out of Brazil. This photo was taken in central Brazil in the Mato Grosso region, one of the most important production areas when you're looking at Brazil. And you can see harvest is now well underway for early planted soybeans. If we look at this map here, this shows weather conditions today. The red dot is where this photo was taken. And so you can see there's some precipitation coming in for beans that may still be in the pod filling stage. But most importantly, when we're looking at precipitation, is that northern Argentina continues to get good precipitation in today's action. So I think that weighed on things as well. Early yield reports from Brazil look very good, and right now a lot in the trade are looking for the Brazilian crop to be upwards of 90 million metric tons by the time all things are said and done. If we compare that to what the USDA said January 10th, the USDA raised their projection, but just to 89 million metric tons. So I think right now the trade's looking at this Brazilian crop as coming into the market here relatively quickly and being larger than what people may be expecting or pricing into this market here at the moment.
There's been some chatter across the news wires that the yield projections or the early yield results have been better than anticipated as well. I think soybeans was really the leader of the downside today. We saw wheat trade off rather sharply. We saw corn hang in there relatively strong compared to what soybeans and wheat was doing, but we ultimately ended up down about 4 1/4 cents there. Some information we did get out was from the EIA ethanol information today.
Yeah, if we look at ethanol production, take a look here at this slide. We've been following this throughout the marketing year. Red bars are weekly production numbers, and the black line is what we saw last year at this time. And if we look at today's bar, production was off 5,000 barrels per day, but I think compared to what people were expecting out of ethanol production, this was a relatively strong number. I know yesterday on the show I was talking about the ethanol crush margin weakening and expecting to see a relatively weak production figure this week. We really didn't see that, and I think that today's number is something that the Corn Bulls may be pleased to see. I think, in general, it might have been a relatively neutral number, but not quite the decline that we were expecting based on what the ethanol crush margin has done here since that January 10th USDA report.
We did get the ethanol production out today. Tomorrow we get the export sales, as always, on Thursday. Let's take a look at what the analysts are expecting in tomorrow's report. For corn, we're looking at for a combined total of this year and next year on sales of 550,000 to 750,000 metric tons. Soybeans 750 to over 1 million metric tons, and wheat 300,000 to 500,000 metric tons. So another strong showing anticipated for soybeans, backing off a little bit for wheat, and corn hanging in there relatively strong as well.
That's right. We'll have to see what comes down the pipe in terms of export sales tomorrow. Today's action largely dictated by export sales information, I think, for soybeans in particular. So that's going to be watched closely tomorrow. We talked a lot about harvest now underway in Brazil, and that means that planting season is right around the corner here in the U.S. If you want to see live quotes out of Chicago on your mobile device during planting season while you're running the planters, visit us over at grainhedge.com. We have a great mobile trading app that's available now for iPad, iPhone, Android, and tablet. If you have any questions about that, as always, give us a call at the office, 877-472-4607. Thanks a lot for joining us here on a Wednesday. We'll see you tomorrow for the Export Sales Report.